Welcome back to the Garza Gaming Channel. Today we're going to continue our Season 9 update with Episode 2, updates to items. So Season 9 came with a bunch. I'm talking about a bunch of updates to relics, to items, to gods, to mechanics, to game modes, to gameplay. Man, so much information that we could not fit it into one video. So what we ended up doing is actually breaking down our video into 3 different episodes to ensure that we were able to give each section its due time to cover it properly, right? So in episode 1, we actually talked about the various different relics and relic changes. So if you haven't seen episode 1, I'll go ahead and link in the description below, or it might be one of these banners up here at the end of the video. So please definitely check that out. In today's video, in episode 2, we're actually going to talk about the various different item changes that's going to come with season 9. And then later, we're going to have an episode 3 where we're going to talk about the various god changes. But before we get into today's video, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on those notifications, man. We put out videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but sometimes we throw out videos throughout the week. So make sure you have those notifications turned on so you get notified if we do. Hey, and if you're new to our channel, don't forget we have over 400 videos just like this one, our YouTube video library. I put a link to that and a link to our streaming library in the description of any of our videos and our website, garzagaming.com. And don't forget, we are now live on Twitch and Facebook Gaming under Garza Gaming Channel. So hey man, even if you're subscribed to us here on YouTube, please go to Twitch and Facebook and go ahead and give those follows. We'd really appreciate it. But hey man, let's not waste any more time. Without any further ado, let's get into it. So here we go with episode 2, the changes to the upcoming items, right? The new tier for a lot of these items that we have. As right now, I believe we have up to 3 tiers per item. So we're going to be adding a 4th tier to a few of the items that we have in our arsenal. So let's get into this, man. Amulet of Silence. Okay, so for Amulet of Silence, this is actually the upgrade to a Heartward Amulet, right? So with this, what you're going to do is you gain a stack each time that an enemy within 40 units casts an ability. After 5 stacks, your next basic attack against an enemy god will silence them for 1.5 seconds. This can only occur every 45 seconds. Now, the thing by reading this is very interesting for the simple fact that it's saying that that you gain a stack every time an enemy uses, it says cast an ability. It's not a damaging ability, it's just any ability. So by reading this, that means that you'd get a stack if you're within 40 units of maybe an Aphrodite healing somebody, or a Sylvanas doing a pull. It just doesn't happen to be, or even a hell, healing somebody. It doesn't have to be damaging. So that's interesting. That by incorporating all abilities, I can see people getting those stacks pretty quick with that one. Okay, so Amulet of the Stronghold. So this is the second up tier 4 branch to this item. So with this one, you get 20% of your physical protections are converted to magical protection. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Breastplate of Determination. This is the upgrade to Breastplate of Valor. So each time that you are hit by an ability, you gain a stack of 5 protections that corresponds to the type of damage that hits you, right? And up to 4 of each type. Once you reach a max stacks of 4 of each kind, it bursts, giving you 20% movement speed and doubling your protections gained. So you get 8 protections from each for up to 8 seconds. After which you have to start over with your stacks. So that's pretty cool, man. That's actually a pretty cool little addition to Breastplate of Valor. Anything that gives you some movement speed, man, I love. It helps you get out of those tight situations, right? So then the second branch to this is called Breastplate of Vigilance. So when an ultimate ability has finished casting, you provides you with an aurora and a 40 unit range around you, reducing basic attack damage from enemies by 30% for 5 seconds. That's pretty interesting, man. That's something that would probably go very well with like a Hades ult or an Ares ult, actually. Maybe in a Daji if you wanted to add some defense to her. Where when you come down out of your ult, you're a sitting duck, right? In Hades' situation when he goes into his ult, he's a sitting duck. But hey, yeah, that could definitely help out a bit, right? So here we go with Deathbringer. This is a very popular item, so I was really interested to see what they could do with this one. So Envenomed Deathbringer. What they did with this one is the critical hits on enemy gods that are affected. Oh, I'm sorry. Critical hits affect the enemy with poisons for 2 seconds. Oh man, this is just the poison star. Yep. So all they did is added the passive of Poison Star to Deathbringer. So anytime that you crit on an enemy, you're going to end up poisoning them for 2 seconds, whereas they're going to be slowed for 10% and reduce their damage output by 15%. So yeah, it's pretty much Poison Star. So by the looks of this, they probably pulled Poison Star out of the game and gave the effect to Deathbringer, which is very funny because now the malicious Deathbringer, this is probably Malice. So they probably took Malice out because this is the exact same stats that Malice had. Successfully hitting an enemy god with a critical strike is going to reduce your cooldowns by 1 second, except for your ultimate. So yeah. The funny thing about this is, I believe for Malice, it said it couldn't happen more than once every 6 seconds, and this one doesn't say that. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same as Malice. That sucks too, because I actually enjoyed using Malice for the simple fact that it was one of those cooldown items that you got that had really high attack power plus crit. So we'll see what if they added anything to counteract that. So Jotun's Wrath upgrade here. Jotun's Ferocity. Your next basic attack marks an enemy god. If you hit the marked enemy or the marked enemy hits you with a basic attack or an ability, you gain 1 stack. Each stack provides 2% increased damage towards the marked enemy, stacking up to 10 times. This effect can only happen every 60 seconds. Now, I don't know who's writing this stuff, and I'm trying to read this, but the way they write it is so discombobulated that I'm trying to make it make sense for you guys, right? So by reading this one right here, for one, it doesn't really say how long the stacks last, right? Because it says right here, your next basic attack marks a god. Okay, so when you hit a god with a basic attack, you're going to end up marking them. Okay, so if you hit the marked enemy or the marked enemy hits you with a basic attack or ability, you gain, it says gain 1 stack. Okay, so what ends up happening is once you mark them, if you hit them again with a basic attack or an ability, or they hit you with a basic attack or ability, you're going to gain stacks, right? And each stacks that you get 2% increased damage towards that marked enemy. The problem with this is it doesn't pretty much show, so we're going to have to wait to see when this comes out, how long you have to build these stacks, right? And then once these stacks are built and you have, this increased 2% increased damage towards the marked enemy, how long does that last? Or is it just up to 10 times? And then once it's up to 10 times, that's it, it's done. So you get 10 attacks and then it's done. I don't know. So we're going to have to check it out once it goes live. It sounds interesting, though. I'm not going to lie. It does sound interesting. Anything that's going to give you, increased damage is always good. And I love almost all my builds have Jotun's Wrath when it comes to the physical types because it has 20% cooldown plus that penetration. So, man, any addition to that is just going to be awesome. Okay, so Jotun's Vigor, right? So if you drop beneath 40% health, you gain 10% movement speed and 40% physical ability lifesteal for 5 seconds. This may only happen once every 15 seconds. This is very interesting for the simple fact that it almost sounds like a size passive, right? So once you get down below a certain amount of health, you get, ridiculous lifesteal. Oh man, that's going to be... Dude, that Jotun's Wrath of Vigor is really going to come into play for a high lifesteal type build, especially for assassins, man. That is going to be nasty. Or even a very high lifesteal type of maybe a hunter build, with high attack speed. Oh, man, that's going to be nasty. I'm definitely going to have to check this one out when it goes live. Okay, so moving on. Calamitous Rod of Hoodie, right? So obviously this is the upgrade to Rod of Hoodie. So successfully hitting an enemy god with an ability calls down a meteor that lands within 1.5 seconds, dealing 100 plus 30% of your magic power damage in a 15 unit radius. So this effect can only happen once every 90 seconds. This is actually a pretty cool addition to the passive of Rod of Hoodie. The first a guy that just popped into mind as soon as I started reading this was Nox. Can you imagine every time you lock down somebody, or not every, within 90 seconds, you lock somebody down with Nox, they can't move for like 1 second or 1.5 seconds. And then they get, and if you did your combo right, they get that AoE silence burst plus a meteor landing on top of them. Man, that's going to be pretty nasty. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to end up trying this one in a Nox build, see how that works. Okay, so moving on here. Nimble Rada to Hoodie. So the second branch on this, for every 40 magic power you have, you gain 2% attack speed. That's pretty good. That's good Oleron, I guess. Hell, even Zeus could probably benefit from this, to tell you the truth. But definitely like a Freya, maybe. Getting that 2 attack speed for a Freya, that would be really, really nasty. But yeah, all right, so let's go. So one of the biggest things to take note with the item changes, they actually changed up how crit works in the game, right? So what ends up happening is they ended up nerfing crit a bit. So critical damage, the critical damage multiplier as we know it right now, pre season 9, is a 2x type multiplier, right? So obviously, if you normally do 100 damage, you'll be doing 200 damage. So what they ended up doing is they ended up decreasing that modifier from a 2x to a 1.75x. So they reduced the damage that it's going to get multiplied just by a little bit. The critical strike chance algorithm has also changed, right? From a full random type algorithm to a pseudo range to allow for more consistent critical strike chances over multiple hits. I don't know what they mean by pseudo range. I mean, I'm not an English major, but I can tell you that pseudo means fake or imposter, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Maybe by doing that hyphen range, it means something else, but I don't think pseudo is a choice word for this sentence here. I don't know, man. If you guys understand what they mean by pseudo range, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear your input on this. But I'm pretty sure that they could have definitely explained that a lot better. And that's another thing, man. And I don't mean no disrespect by no means, but if anybody from Hydra is watching this, dude, please keep in mind that there's a lot, I'm talking a lot of player base in Smite, whether it be Arena, which is king for us, right? But Arena or any other play modes that have English as a second language, right? So when you guys do these updates, especially big updates like this, dude, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's too much to ask to try to simplify the verbiage for explaining these various different changes in a way where, one, it's easier to understand for somebody that has English as a second language, or it's going to make it easier for somebody that's going to cut and paste into a translation type program. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody deserves to know what the updates are. You know what I'm saying? So the easier we make it for all, the better it is for all. I'm just my input. Like I said, no disrespect, just my tidbits, just in case anybody from High Res is watching. And I know every now and then you guys catch one of my videos. I know you do. Okay, but anyway, moving on. So yeah, so it looks like the algorithm is going to change on crit, so we'll see how that works. Hopefully it doesn't cripple crit, you know what I'm saying? It'll become more likely to get it. So they're saying that you will now be more likely to become more likely to get a normal hit miss the longer critical strike occurs. So I guess by the more critical strikes that you get, the higher chance you're going to roll a normal attack. I think that's what they mean. I don't mean by miss. There is no miss, right? Anytime you attack somebody multiple times if they're moving, of course, you're going to increase your chance of missing. But I mean, like I said, man, the way they explain some of this stuff is just craziness. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so it'll become more likely to get a critical hit the longer that you have a miss streak. And by that, I'm pretty sure what they mean is the more that you hit somebody and connect, that the higher chance you are going to be of getting a crit. I'm pretty sure it doesn't mean that the more you miss, that the higher chance you're going to crit. If that's the case, people are going to start over here purposely missing, strafing, and then going to connect with you just to collect a bunch of crits. That makes no sense to me. So by reading this, I'm pretty sure what they mean is the more normal attacks when you hit somebody, the more normal taps that you roll a regular hit instead of a crit, that you have a higher percentage for the next one to be a higher chance to get a crit. So to not confuse you, if I attack you and I hit normal, now the algorithm is going to roll on the next attack a higher chance to get a crit. If I hit you with a normal attack again, the next attack that I do again is going to have even a higher higher chance of getting a crit. See what I'm saying? So your chances increase the more normal attacks you get. So if you had a 1 in 10 chance of getting a crit the first time and you got a normal attack, the next time you can have a 1 in 9 chance. The next time you might have a 1 in 8 chance. The next time you might have 1 in 7 chance. So that's how they mean that. Okay, so enough of that. Critical sprees and critical hit misses sprees are both less likely to on the extreme end. Yeah, whatever, dude. All right, so moving on to our starter items, right? So Warrior's Axe. What they did with Warrior's Axe is decrease physical power from 15 to 10 and decrease magical power from 20 to 15. Man, they didn't just, I could have swore they just nerfed this not too long ago. Boy, they're nerfing the crap out of these starter items. Bluestone Pendant. They decrease the cost by 100 gold. Who cares? Seer of the Jungle. Who cares? Okay. Tainted Steel. Decrease the cost by 50 gold. Okay, so here we go. Oh my goodness. Mystical Mail. Decrease damage overall from 30 plus 1 per level magic damage per second to 25 and 1 per level. So they reduced the base damage by 5. Dude, stop messing with my Mystical Mail. I love that thing, and you guys are just freaking nerfing it into out of existence. Stop messing with it. But yeah, it's a small nerf. I mean, it is what it is, right? After mitigations, you're going to be looking at, a lot less damage, to tell you the truth. 5 damage doesn't sound like a lot, but after mitigations, it could be substantial, man. Okay, so here goes with Pride Wind. So Pride Wind is to decrease the shield from 120% of your protections from items to 100. Dude, that's a big chunk of shield that they just took away from Pride Wind too. Yeah, that sucks. Bulwark of Hope, decrease the health of the shield from 50% of max health to 12%. So they reduced it by 3%. Yeah, that sucks, but that's not as big of a hit as some of the previous items we just talked about. And I knew this was gonna end up getting nerfed eventually, because that thing is pretty OP, to tell you the truth. Especially if you build a heavy tank that has a lot of hit points, and you can very easily build up anywhere between 3,500 to 4,000 hit points on a good tank. So I don't know. Telkin's Ring, decrease magic power from 100 to 90 on that one. All right, Voidstone, increase health from 150 to 250 and increase magical protection Aurora debuff from 10% to 15%. That is a very, very nice addition to Voidstone. That is awesome. I stopped using this a while back because of the simple fact they nerfed the crap out of it. But giving it an additional 100 health plus an additional 5% debuff, so they increased it by 50% because they gave an additional 5%, so a total of 15% debuff. That's very interesting, man. I might have to take a look at that one. So Emperor's Armor, so they increased the health from 250 to 300 and increased tower attack speed buff. Who cares? Jade Emperor's Crown, increased health from 200 to 250, increased physical power Aurora debuff from 25 to 30. That's pretty nice, man. That's pretty nice. 50 hit points is not bad at all. Black Thorns Hammer, so now builds off the heavy hammer tree, right? And costs 2,200. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty low price. 35 physical power. So now it comes with 35 physical power, 300 health, 25 physical protections, and 25 magical protections. Now, I'm not seeing anything about the passive. So I'm going to say that the passive is probably going to remain the same. The only thing that pretty much got changed is maybe the just the stats on it. Now, I don't really use Blackthorn's Hammer, so I don't know what the heck the stats normally are on this, but it sounds like they might have gave it some more health on here. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that the passive on it, if it had a passive, is going to remain the same. So Ruin Forge Hammer. The cost on this one is going to be 2,400 gold. And then they did the same thing with this one. They revamped the stats. Now this one, I can tell you that it looks like now it's going to have 45 physical power, 250 health, 25 HP 5 and 20 MP 5. So with this one, I've used it in a couple of my builds, and I can tell you that they added 5 physical power to this, and then it used to not have any plus HP 5 or plus MP4. MP5, I should say. So the health is the same. So 250 is what you got before. So what they ended up doing is giving you 5 more physical power on this item, and then they gave you the 25 and the 20 HP 5 and MP4 MP5 on that one. And like I said, it says nothing about the passive, but I'm pretty sure the passive just remains the same. If not, then I mean it is what it is. But that's what I'm anticipating, that the passive will remain the same. Okay, so Hide of the Neiman line. Increase physical protections from 80 to 90. Decrease time to gain a block stack from 15 seconds to 10 seconds. Ooh, that's nasty. Berserker Shield. Increase physical protections from 35 to 45. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. 10 more protections. That's nice. Oh, what did they do to my staff? Staff of Meridian. Increase the magical power from 95 to 105. That is awesome, dude. That is awesome. Increase duration of the passive from 6 seconds to 8 seconds. That is awesome. So not only are you going to get an additional 10% damage, or I'm sorry, 10 magic power damage, but you're also going to get your cooldown reductions increase for an additional 2 seconds. Because as you know, this one has that passive where, you know, if you once you use your ult, it reduces your cooldowns on all your attacks. So you get 2 more seconds of accelerated cooldown reduction, which is going to be awesome. And I have a lot of builds with Staff Meridian, so that added attack power, that's going to be nice, dude. That's going to be really nice. Okay, so Celestial Legion Helm. Increase magical power from 70 to 90. Decrease physical protections from 40 to 30. All right, yeah, it is what it is. Warlock Staff. Increase magical power from 85 to 95. Another 10 magic power increase, man. That's awesome. You know, all these items that I normally use, I applaud any additions that they do to them, man. That's just awesome. A Cronks Coin. Heck, they almost got this to the pre-nerf state. I believe that one time, and I could be wrong, but I think it had up to 85% or 85 attack damage. Magical power, I call it attack damage, same crap. So this one, they actually increased the magical power from 70 to 80, which is really, really nice, man. I thought that 70 was way too low for this item. This item, I actually used it in a few of my builds. But the thing is, man, with all the increased all the buffs that they've made to like Spear Desolation, Divine Ruin, you know what I'm saying? And now Staff Meridian, it makes it very hard for me to try to bring this item into a lot of my builds, knowing that I can, you know, get so much more out of other type items. But hey, man, an added 10 magic item power is really, really nice. Obsidian Shard, decrease the cost of this one from 2550 to 2450, so decrease it by 100 gold, and increase the magic power from 90 to 100. You know what? That's still not going to be enough for me to entice me to use this item, but I can tell you that they're starting to get to that point. If they would give this 120 magic item power, I would probably experiment with it. But even at 100, even at 100 magic item power, I don't think it's gonna be enough for me to want to use that one, to tell you the truth. But hey, man, some people use it and they do very well with it, right? Like I said, you know, our builds are like clothes. Everybody has their own style and taste, right? Okay, so here we go. Rage. So Rage, they increase power from 30 to 35. Awesome. Any addition to attack power for Rage is very much wanted. I think at one time, wasn't this down to like 25 attack power or something ridiculously low? Yeah, if this thing ever goes into like 40, 45, dude, that's going to be a nasty item. I mean, it still is a nasty item, but I still think that the attack power is still too low. Fail Not. Decrease the cost from 28 to 2650. That is awesome. That is really awesome. That means you can build your cooldown reduction and your crit a lot faster. Deathbringer. Increase the power from 50 to 55. Increase the critical strike chance from 25 to 30. And then decrease the cost of it by 100. That is pretty cool, man. In reading some of the items that they changed, right, with that tier 4 earlier, One of the things that stood out to me is the fact that they took away Malice, as we're about to read here shortly, and gave the passive of Malice to that tier 4 for Deathbringer. Now, for a lot of my builds, I actually use Malice for a lot of my physical type god builds, right? So that man, I don't know what I'm going to end up using to replace that Malice with, because one of the main things I liked about Malice, it was a not only a 10% cooldown reduction with added cooldown for every crit you got, but it gave you that high 45 physical power, right? Along with it, which is really high attack power for one item. Now they increased Deathbringer by 5. I mean, that's not going to be enough, obviously, to counteract, a 45 item. But any addition to items that I would normally use in conjunction with that Malice is going to help out, especially if a lot of those items did get maybe bumped up a little bit. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. But yeah, that's interesting. Shadow Steel Shuriken. They increased the attack speed of this one from 15% to 20%. That is amazing. That is awesome. Increased duration of healing reduction debuff from 6 seconds to 6. Oh, from 6 to 10 seconds. Wow. That, man, 10 seconds is a lifetime in Arena. Yeah, I definitely welcome this buff. I actually started incorporating Shadow Steel Shuriken into a few of my builds, and I tell you what, it's been working out really, really nice. So having that additional attack speed is just going to make those builds that much more deadlier. So yeah, they took away Malice, they took away Poison Star, and they gave both of the passives to the tier 4 Deathbringer. Okay, Atlantis Bow. The cost of this is $23.50. So I guess they redid the stats on this one. 40 physical power, 25 attack speed, 20 critical chance, 10 life steal, but the passive is unchanged. This is funny, man. And if anybody from High Res is watching this, this is another thing that I can see when they give these updates that they're not very consistent, right? So on this one, they pointed out that the passive is unchanged on this item. But on Ruin Forge, Blackthorn's Hammer, a bunch of those other ones we talked about, they did not say that. So are we to believe that they took away the passive from those other ones? Or did they just simply forget to put that in there? You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, guys. You got to work with us, dude. You got to work with us. But anyway, back to this one item here. So by looking at this, tell you the truth, I can't remember how much attack power I got with physical attack power I got with Atlantis Bow. I think it was already 40, and I think you already got 25 attack speed. I think the only thing that I can see at a glance at this, and I'd have to look it up, is that I know that Atlantis Bow had, I think, 10% physical penetration. It looks like they took away the penetration and gave you 20% crit and 10% lifesteal, but everything remained the same. That's what it's looking like to me. For sure, without a doubt, they took away the 10% penetration and they added 20% crit chance and 10% lifesteal. I know for a fact Atlantis Bow did not have 20% crit and 10% lifesteal in the past, because I would have been using that item. I definitely would have been experimenting with that item. So that's a very welcome change to Atlantis Bow. All right, Silver Branch Bow. They increased the cost of this one from $2,200 to $2,400. Increased the percentage physical penetration from 10% to 20%. Oh, that's pretty cool. Devourer's Gauntlet. Decreased stack count from 70 to 50. Increased power per stack from 0.5 to 0.8. So that's pretty cool. So this is all this is going to do is allow you to build up, to the max stack on this one, or to to fill out the stack so it evolves that much quicker. So that's going to be nice. Okay, so Toxic Blade. Increase the max stacks from 2 to 3. All right. Increase max healing reduction. This item can provide from 40% to 60%. Holy moly. That's a lot. That's a lot of anti-heal right there. That's nice. I don't really use Toxic Blade too much, to tell you the truth. If I remember correctly, this thing doesn't have any attack power on it. That's why I don't like giving up attack power on my damage dealers. But hey, man, I know a lot of people that use this and they do really well with it. It just doesn't fit my playstyle, to tell you the truth. But that 60 anti-heal, that's nasty, dude. So Hydra's Laminate. So they increased the cost of this one from 2150 to 2300. So they added 150 gold to this one, but they added 10% physical penetration. So what they ended up doing is taking the 10 penetration from Atlantis Bow and they gave it to Hydra's laminate, which is really nice, man. I always thought that Hydra's, while it is a high damage type item, I always felt like it lacked something. It needed a little bit more, right? A little bit more meat on the bone. So that 10% of physical penetration, I think, is going to make that item really, really powerful. Not that it's not already powerful, right? So Golden Blade. So they increased the physical power from 30 to 35 on this item and increased attack speed from 15% to 20%. Now keep in mind that Golden Blade is one of the few items that actually are an AoE type physical item, right? So what ends up happening is when you attack with Golden Blade, you actually hit at a small fan. Your hitbox is a small fan, so you can hit people that are, you know, within X amount of units that are close to your target. So it's splash damage, and I believe the splash damage is reduced by X amount. I can't remember how much it is. So any additional damage to that is going to be really nice, and any attack speed is going to be really nice. So that's a very wonderful addition to Golden Blade. Okay, so Soul Eater. At its lower level, increased physical power from 20 to 25. Once he evolves, increased physical power from 35 to 40. So he gets 5 more physical power. Increased ability life steal from 20 to 25. So he got 5 more attack power or physical power, 5 more life steal. I still won't use it. Dude. But hey, like I said, there's a lot of people that use it and they do very well with it. I don't incorporate it into my builds, unfortunately. Now, this is a very interesting one, especially for a Loki or even some of the other assassins. Bludge Force, they decreased the cost from 2,800 to 2,750, right? But they added 5% movement speed, man. Any additional movement speed is always welcome, especially for assassins like, you know, Loki or maybe a Fenrir or somebody that needs to get out of those real tight situations with a quickness. So, yeah. That is awesome, dude. But yeah, that's all the information on our items. So yeah, like I said, you know, there is a bunch updates to our items. Like I said before, you know, all of this goes into effect January 25th. Now, we already did a video on the relics, and that took a good while, right? The items wasn't so bad. But what's going to end up doing, this is episode 2 covering all the items, obviously, right? So what I'm going to end up doing is doing an episode 3 to cover, you know, what's left of the god changes and any little nicks and tucks here that I might have missed. But anyway, man, that's going to wrap up our video on the items for the updates for Season 9, man. Hey, are you hyped up for Season 9, man? I think I am. I'm very, very excited to try out some of these new relics and these new Tier 4 additions to some of the items that I already use, man. Some of them sound very, very intriguing to me, man. I think that they're going to make some of my builds just that much more devastating. I know there's a couple of builds I'm already thinking about with my Nox and my Zeus that I think are just going to be ridiculous damage. But anyway, man, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I'm Dark Garza, your OG on the GC. See you next time.